Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the TCG Rundown. I am Silver, and once again, I am all on my onesies, but no packs today. This is such a not TCG player friendly sort of thing to say. I'm a little packed out right now. Let's just say that set championships this past weekend were kind to me. As I'm recording this, the first weekend of Lorcana set championships is in the books. We had some very interesting results. It definitely seems like a lot of different decks are making their way into top 4s and top 8s, and even champion decks. We've seen Emerald Amethyst at the top. Of course, we've got our Ruby Sapphire Tamatoa decks. A lot of Amethyst Steel and Emerald Steel aggro, which is surprising. It definitely seems like people came out with the idea that they were strictly teching against the Ruby Sapphire and Sapphire Steel item matchups. So that's interesting, and I think that's something we're going to see continued through week 2 of the set championships and even into Atlanta. So here in South Bend, I've had the pleasure of playing, I played in one, and I judged a second tournament, and it was a lot of fun. Great to see a good variety of decks out. The first championship, we had a Ruby Sapphire Tamatoa deck win, and then surprisingly, the second saw that same championship deck matched up against, it was Amethyst Steel aggro, and this deck was fast. You know, I've been off of Team Uninkable 1-Drop for a long time. I'm talking things like 1-Drop Lilo, 1-Drop Maleficent, the 2-Drop Pinocchio, the ones that quest for a lot of lore. But they really put in some work this weekend. That's in Emerald Amethyst. That's in the Amethyst Steel, the Emerald Steel, even the Red Fossa decks, the Amber Ruby decks, which we saw a couple of. They did well. They didn't top 8, but they did well. But all in all, it was a good mix of decks, and I think that says a lot about just how healthy the meta is right now. It's not like set 2, where if you weren't playing Ruby Amethyst, you were in for a bad day. Ruby Amethyst did put in a respectable presence in the tournaments, but it has been dethroned. It's a deck that still performs well in most matchups. It doesn't really have anything it walks into that's a guaranteed loss, because current versions of Ruby Amethyst do have that ability to go aggro, mid-range, or control. But it just doesn't have the teeth to meet its ambitions. Put your complaints in the comments. I understand. It's not quite there anymore. It doesn't have that explosive, unavoidable win con like Tamatoa Dime. It doesn't have the overwhelming early game like Emerald aggro decks or even the Amber aggro decks. For my part, I'm enjoying it, but I know the Ruby Amethyst players, the people who have been invested in the deck for a long time, are feeling a little salty, a little left behind. And to you, my friends, I say free hugs. I'm sure your time will come. We've seen some really interesting spoilers dripping out so far for Ursula's return, but that is a different video for a different day. So the second tournament, the one I judged, was really interesting, and it was nice to have sort of my first big competitive tournament experience as a judge. There were a lot of very interesting calls, and the one that stood out, I would like to apologize to a pair of players. Was the third round, a player pulled me aside and asked for a ruling about Friar Tuck. He is the 4-drop that when you play him, the player with the most cards in hand discards a card. I was asked if that's played and both players have the same number of cards in hand, do both discard or does no one discard? I said no one discards. That is an incorrect ruling. I apologize. When Tuck comes out, if you have the same number of cards in hand, both players are considered to have the most cards in hand, both discard. So my apologies to anonymous player T. I will do better in the future. And that is a tricky one to remember if you are judging either, set championships moving into weekend 2, or if you happen to be part of the team in Atlanta or Chicago. Other news this week, we've had sort of a big run of spoilers. We've seen a lot of rares coming out in every color, but some spicy emerald cards. Like I said, I'll do a deep dive video on those probably next week. When we have a few more, I get some more opinions on them, see what the spice is like. So let me know in the comments, what did you run at your set championships? How many packs did you win? Did you get a promo? Did you get a playmat? Everyone was really excited for those playmats. They are so nice looking. Though, honestly, no one took them out of the plastic at the events I was in, which makes sense. It's turning into an expensive playmat. It's great art. It's a character everybody loves, but still, take it out. Let me see it. Let me hug the beauty of the stitch. Let me know what your pricing was like. I know there was some controversy over different stores severely undercapping their events, capping them at strictly 8 even. There have been some stores doing super shady things to try to keep the promos in the family, so to speak. One went so far as to allegedly cap at 8, then fill their Melee roster with fake accounts, and then have the store closed at the time the tournament was supposed to run. I don't know the veracity of that report. If it is, it's a total scumbag move. I know they've been reported to Ravensburger OP by not only the people from that store, but a lot of very angry people from Reddit, Discord, and Facebook. But really, this is meant to build the community. It's meant to drive that competitive spirit and introduce the idea of competitive Lorcana play. Make eye contact with me here. If you are a store owner or tournament organizer and you used this as an opportunity to get your hands on 4 Enchanted Stitch promos and 2 promotional mats just because you thought you might be able to make a few grand off of them down the road, you're a scumbag. I normally don't directly call people out, but you're a scumbag. Think about it. The lost potential earnings off of future organized play events alone dwarfs the small amount you might have gained by holding on to these freebies that you got from Ravensburger. You know this company is going to treat your store well. You know it's going to treat your players well. They've been distributing incredible organized play packs since the game launched. Is it really worth losing out on that and the traffic and the reputation that an active Lorcana community can bring to your store for a couple of quick bucks? Honestly, if you're looking at it as an investment or even just because you're a Disney fan, go on eBay. Buy the ones that people are selling. A lot of players are farming these events, to use a video game term. They're hitting every single event they can. You've got people around here playing in 6, 7 different events. I've had a couple players tell me that they'll go to one. If they're not doing well by round 3, they drop. They drive half an hour and they go to another tournament that's just about to start. And they've done this on multiple days. Even I'm playing in 2 events. I judged the 3rd. Andrew will have played in 3 events by the end of this circuit. And we're not the only group that sort of plays together for prizes. There are a lot of these cards in circulation. People are happy to part with them on eBay for a few $100s. If you really think that this is worth a speculative investment, make the investment. Don't just go, oh, ha, 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 I got this for free because I have a brick and mortar store. That is a scumbag move. And please, if your store is doing unethical things like that, please put them on blast. Please contact Ravensburger Organized Play. Their email address is right on the Organized Play website. I think it's lorcanaop@ravensburger.com. Don't hold me to that. Double check before you send your emails. But please, please, please report these people. This is not the sort of behavior that leads to a healthy collector's environment. It doesn't lead to a healthy player environment. And think about it. Do you really want someone that unethical as your tournament organizer, as the person who's going to be making those final calls, league even? Someone who's in a position to judge these events while we don't have an official judge program? It's not a good thing. And I can't stress this enough. If you are an LGS owner, tournament organizer, you are getting into these events, please encourage your players to be as ethical about this as possible. We don't get anywhere building a competitive environment if people are just going to game the system rather than play the game or even game each other. I mean, let's face it, we do intentionally draw things. We do discuss who's in what standings and where and how pairings and tiebreakers might work out. That's fine. That's normal. That's typical competitive behavior. It happens in sports. It happens in other card games. I'm sure it happens in competitive Monopoly, if there is such a thing. But I draw the line at manipulating prizing to the extent that you completely cut people out. You make it so that one person specifically gets everything. And I am very, very proud to say that the stores around me, the places I've played, Fantasy Games in South Bend, Warehouse Games in Mishawaka, I'm going to be playing in a card shop I've never even been to in Elkhart. Everybody is running their tournaments really, really well, really respectfully towards the players and the game. And if you're in Indiana, definitely come check us out. If you're in Southern Michigan, we've got a great Lorcana community here. But I think that's it for my rant today. Like I said, we'll be back with a spoilers rundown probably next video, maybe the one after that, depending on how weekend 2 set championships shake out. See if we spot any more rogue decks coming through. I know there were some spicy ones Andrew was excited to talk about. But until then, thank you for joining us on the TCG Rundown. I'm Silver. If you like what you saw, please give us a like, subscribe, drop us a comment. Tell us how your weekend went. Did you have any cool events? Do you have any questions to ask? Judge calls that you don't understand? Or even, check out our sibling shows, our sibling channels, I should say. Miniatures Rundown, RPG Rundown, and Board Games Rundown. Thanks, and have a great week. Good luck in your championships.